I'm a whore wife. I've never been like this before. For the first 15 years of our marriage, I was absolutely faithful to my husband. Not that I didn't have chances to cheat, because I had plenty of chances, but I loved my husband and couldn't bring myself to cheat on him. So what's the irony of him turning me into a whore? My husband works as a regional sales manager for a large electronics company here in Denver. His responsibilities include hosting cocktail parties that are part of conferences, sales seminars, etc. I usually attend these events with him, and we always rent a room at the hotel where the event is being held. In this day and age of driving while intoxicated, you don't want to risk getting pulled over while driving home with the smell of alcohol on your breath. I enjoy attending these events because even though I wasn't cheating on my husband, I loved the attention I received from out-of-town businessmen and all the harmless flirting that went on. A little over 2 years ago, I was at one of these parties when I felt a little dizzy. I told my husband I was going to go up to our room and lie down for a while. By the time I got up to my room, I had already decided that I wasn't going back to the party, so I undressed and got into bed. I don't know how long I was there before I heard the door to my room open, but it seemed to me that my husband had gone to bed early. He was usually the last one to leave, and these parties sometimes went on until the early hours of the morning. I thought maybe he had just gone up to check on me until I heard him undressing. He climbed into bed, and soon I felt his lips on my chest. I was half asleep and decided to just lay there and enjoy the attention. I am very eloquent in bed, so I hummed, "Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, baby." After a couple minutes of hard sex, the voice of a man who was not my husband said, "God, honey, you're so hot." I opened my eyes and looked into the face of a man I had never seen before. Henry said, "I'm gonna love you. That you were a great ass," and he was right. I was confused. Henry was my husband's name. Did he send this guy to fuck me? Why would he do that? What made him think I would even agree to something like that? The only thing I knew at that moment was that there was no way I could make this stranger stop even if I wanted to. Honestly, I'd gone too far to stop, and I just kept pressing myself against him about 2 seconds before the man spoke. "I'm going to finish now, honey." I experienced mind-blowing ecstasy, and as the man collapsed on top of me, I was determined to experience another one just like it. I had no idea who he was or how he ended up in my bed, but I was determined to knock him out again before I let him get the hell out of my room. I bounced on the man and saw the door start to open. I tensed up, expecting Henry to enter the room, but instead of my husband, I saw 2 other strangers. They entered the room as if they belonged there and began to undress. By the time they had undressed, my unknown lover had flipped me onto my back. For the next 2 hours, the 3 of us slept together. When they finally left, I was close to exhaustion. I got out of bed and headed for the shower to clean myself up before Henry came when I noticed the money on the dresser. It hadn't been there before, and when I counted it, I found that there was $300. I was standing there trying to figure out what was going on when the phone rang. I picked up the phone and a woman asked, "Is Henry in the room?" I told her he wasn't, and that he was probably still at the cocktail party. I asked if she wanted me to give him a message. "Tell him that Jenny called and the clients never showed up. I'll call him tomorrow." As I hung up, it suddenly dawned on me what must have happened. Henry had introduced 3 of his clients to a prostitute and had mistakenly given them our room key instead of the key to the room where Jenny was waiting. The money on the dresser was obviously a tip for good service. I was sound asleep when Henry entered the room, so it wasn't until the next morning that I was able to relay the message to Jenny. I saw the confusion on his face, and he said, "It can't be. I saw Ray and Andy before they left, and they told me she was a veritable hurricane in bed. In fact, they made me promise to set them up with her the next time they came to town." I said nothing, and he got out of bed and pulled a notebook out of his briefcase. He found a number and dialed the phone. "Hi, Jenny. I got your message. Not at all? Okay, baby, thanks anyway." Short laugh. "Yeah, baby, I know you don't give refunds." He hung up. Jenny didn't see them, but somebody did. I'm up to my eyeballs in shit. Ray and Andy are 2 of my best clients, and they expect me to bring them the girl they had last night, and I have no idea who it could be. I hadn't planned on telling Henry anything about last night, but I suddenly realized that I enjoyed every minute of it and would like to do it again. How much are you paying, Jenny? Why do you ask? Humor me. What does she get? Usually 300, but for more than one guy, it's 300 plus another 200 each. So last night cost you 700? How would you feel about lowering last night's cost to $400 and next time to zero? What's your point? Before I answer that, let me ask you a question. No, let's make it 2 questions. How strong is our marriage and how much do you love me? He smiled and said, if you're asking, it must not be as strong as I thought. And as for the second one, I must not be doing a very good job of showing you how much you mean to me. Do you love me enough to believe that I would never do anything that I could lose you over? Henry pulled me into a hug and said, you can't do anything that would make me give up on you. I certainly hope so, love, but I guess we have yet to find out. I got up and rummaged in my purse, and when I came back, I held out to Henry the 300 I had gotten last night. What's this? It's the tip that Ray, Andy, and another guy gave me last night. Henry sat stunned as I told him about what had happened and about Jenny's phone call. So, because of the $300, your expenses from last night are down to $400. All you have to do now is decide if we're going to keep the money in the family from now on. Neither of us wanted last night to happen, but the fact is that it did, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I wouldn't mind doing it again. If I do, it'll be with your blessing. You have to decide if you want to pay Jenny to do it or have me do it for free. You don't have to decide right now, but you have to decide by the time Ray and Andy get back. When do you think that will be? In 2 weeks, he said quietly. Oh, shit. What the hell am I going to do? Right now, love, how about I fuck your personal slut? And I led him over to the bed. In the 2 years since then, I've served over 100 of Henry's clients and have enjoyed every minute of the process. Even better, Henry can't tear himself away from me when I return from one of my appointments. I had to stop attending the company cocktail parties and have to meet his clients at a different hotel than where the parties are held. I don't want it to be known that I'm Henry's wife. I usually see Ray and Andy about twice a month, and they've both asked me to marry them, a fact I put Henry on notice. Be careful, honey. I have a choice now. The only thing I haven't done yet that I'd like to do is have a good time. Unless you count the 3 times I did that very first night, I've never slept with more than 2 men since. Henry has a few clients who like group sex, but Henry won't let me do it with them. He always uses Jenny for that, but one day she'll be unavailable and I'll get my chance. Until then, I'll have to settle for the 2 or 3 sessions a week Henry gives me. God, but I love it, and I pray to God I never have to quit.